Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Talk Junkies, where today is going to be a very interesting day, as it is each and every single week here at Talk Junkies. Johnny and Jesse aren't going to be here today. We got the Chiefs game tonight, playing the Raiders, so we're going to do a day podcast, and I think they both work during the day. But anywho, I've known this gentleman for quite a few years now, I believe like 6 years. We've had a lot of interesting conversations, and in the back of my mind, like last week, I was like, why the fuck has this guy not been on my podcast yet? We've talked about it. We are related, but it is by marriage. Matthew, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Paul, I love you so much.
I love you too, man. Here we are in my basement, dude, just doing the thing.
Yes, the studio, pumping out the good tracks. and this is going to be a good one.
It is, and in light of everything happening in the world right now, and I know it's crazy as shit with everything that's going on, so it's kind of nice to bring it back down a little bit and do a podcast like this. And I think what we're going to talk about today is very important. It's hard to do. It's not hard to do, but mentally you have to be in the right place to want to do it. And that's why I wanted to have you on, man, because I feel like throughout your journey you've kind of found yourself a little bit. But before we get into that, just what was life like before you found out that this is what you wanted to do? And I don't know if I want to paint the picture. We're going to be talking about just a healthy body, a healthy mind type of thing today. So before you found your healthy self, what was life like?
A struggle, like it is for basically everyone who wants to eat real food and live a fulfilling life to the self. To eat real food, when we think, what is real food? Meat, real meat with blood, and real fruits and vegetables. I call it fruit blood and vegetable blood, or you can call it chlorophyll and electrolyte, hydrating fructose, sugary and carbony and all the good life force stuff. Blood is life, water's life, carbon's life, organic life. And if you don't have these things, you're pretty droughty. You're hungry and thirsty. And that's life before you come across the real living sustenance of this earth.
So how old were you whenever you decided that this was the path?
I had my first smoothie at about 14, and I would live on smoothies. In my, wake up, make a ginormous smoothie. Oh, yes, eye contact. Thank you.
Yeah.
The sustenance of a smoothie. Just a smoothie, I'm not calling it food because it's not like a grape, they just pop in your mouth. It's all kinds of fruits and vegetables and just blended up into kind of like a mash, like something an old person would eat, like tapioca or what's it called, like cottage cheese.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what a smoothie is. Really nice when you're just starting out, kind of, not, your body's not used to it. You're not conditioned for food processing, like an old person or a baby eats. What does a baby eat? Like the baby
Gerber?
Yeah, but what's that called?
Puree?
Yeah, like a puree.
Yeah.
Like a smoothie is basically a puree. No chewing, just drinking, easy to digest. That changed the game for me,
So it put like a light bulb in your head at 14, like, hey, this is something that I would enjoy. But it's still, how many years was it until after the smoothie experience that you were like, fuck all this shit that I'm eating and all this bad shit I'm putting in my body? I know you drank too, right? Like quite a bit, like when you were younger.
Yeah, I would have some drinks. And when you're weak, any poison that you're gonna put in your food processor really just brings you down. Well below where you want to be. What's an alcohol? Alcohol is a suppressant. Suppress the energy. But alcohol, the pure sugar, the pure distilled ethanol sugar can be really powerful, raging alcoholic, if you want to go rage. But it's a suppressant, will bring you down, mess up your liver and all the digestive organs, pancreas, gallbladder, spleen, all of it, appendix. But yeah, right after the smoothie, what goes really good with smoothie is eggs. It's taken me years to perfect the egg. to yeah, it took me a couple years, from 14 in smoothies, probably took me a couple years, 20 years old to learn how to make eggs perfectly and get that omega cholesterol balance.
So are you saying that even at the age of 14, you kind of knew the path, is what you're saying, or leading yourself towards the path? You always had that inclination, like you weren't just stuck like eating fast food and eating your mom's food or your dad's food that wasn't really meant to be eaten. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what age were you whenever you finally said, enough is enough, I'm going to this strict diet? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. My primary influence was probably bodybuilding. In those teenage years, I was really into working out. Bodybuilders just have this thing about putting the food down and let's try to make it quality food so we don't like wreck our bodies. When you're, good digestive flow, good eliminatory flow with, pooping. But it was probably after working in the fast food industry and seeing like what people generally go for, mixing that with the bodybuilding philosophy. That's seeing what people consider food. That's a big thing, because people just let that one slide. Bodybuilders don't. But working in the food industry, restaurants and grocery stores and things like that, you get to see how much is not real food, how much is severely processed. The more deep the processing, the farther away you get from real natural food. And when I really internalized these things and realized that, it's just food, either natural or processed, I committed and started buying real food every day, 1 or 2 steaks a day, fruits and vegetables every day, and eating them every day. It helps a lot to have a job where you can eat, where you're not, what's the word? Overly distracted or overly restricted. So if you can, with minimal distraction, minimal restriction, just go crazy. Just slur it all at you, just as much as you can take. Fruits and vegetables. Balance it with quality meats, eggs, fish, things like that, omegas. And just blast off because you've made it, minimal distractions, minimal restrictions to your life. This is basically lifestyle, and a major contributing factor to lifestyle is freedom. Freedom to not be distracted and freedom to not be restricted. And this goes a little bit with order, just show up every day, do the same thing, and go along for the ride and let things open up for yourself.
And that's what that does, right? Whenever you're not eating healthy, and it's really easy not to eat healthy. I mean, we're kind of brought up to that. I mean, the amount of advertisements that you see.
School lunches.
school lunches, driving just in your local town and just seeing the amount of restaurants and fast food that's out there. Some of those places do have, quality food, I guess you could say. But I mean, the odds of people ordering that, I've been in the restaurant industry for 15, 16 years. You rarely see people eat healthy. And I don't think it's something that's really pushed upon you as you grow up either. So this is something you have to want to seek out.
Yes.
And for those people, it's like when you seek it out, where do you find the right direction? I mean, I know you've been inspired by multiple people. I think it truly comes down to yourself and wanting to do those things, honestly. But it is nice to have some help along the way. One, listening to podcasts or listening to people who have already done it. And two, like the transition, right? I don't think the transition is that bad. It's probably pretty quick, right? You stop eating these processed foods and you go to these healthy foods like you talk about. It's probably almost instant, like gratification for your body. Like, oh my God, thank you. Because did you not just go straight to fruit for a while and you only ate fruits and vegetables? Did you truly do that, or did you still have meat in your diet?
Oh yeah, always meat. Yeah, as soon as you start putting down the fruits and vegetables, the sugar says, "Hey, we want some fat." Sugar-fat balance. I think that's what gets 99%, 100 all people who are experiencing the food desert. Where can you get real butter? Where can you get real eggs? Where can you get real raw milk? Where can you get real meat?
Where do you?
Well, it's hard because these things go bad. So it's a tight rotation, of production and decay. Because these living foods decay so quickly,
Even with refrigeration? It's like a 1 or 2 day, 3 day grace period type of thing?
Yeah, especially if they're coming a long way in transit on trucks or even flown. Some of these grapes get flown here from Africa, so you got to eat them that day or the next day. Because when you spend a lot of money on, fresh raw milk or butter or cheese or these kind of things, they'll mold, they'll go bad, they'll rot, they'll ferment, because they're living sugars. The living sugars will ferment. The living meat bacteria will putrefy.
So is it okay? So for people who aren't, let's say they're starting out and they can't, like you said, it's expensive. And we need to definitely get into where you find these things, even if it is just a fast process of having to eat it quick, because still that's the best route. There are still options at your local grocery store, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just go in, get the fruits and vegetables you can. You really can't be too picky. It's very hard to get fruits and vegetables. Most of the vegetables are not so organic. You've got a pretty thin list of good vegetables you can get. Cucumber and celery, carrot, kind of the staples. Fruits you can, mess around with the seasons. You have spring, summer, fall. But yeah, it's not easy to get fruit. It's anyone who, seeks it out knows how hard it is to get it. Yeah, in the food deserts.
Like the good stuff, right? Because when we talk about like how hard it is to find these things, when you go into the grocery store, you can still find it. But are you suggesting that? I don't even say suggesting. I'm just saying it for the sake of it. That a lot of these things that you get in the local grocery store, Monsanto's has sprayed it, pesticides, all that type of shit. Is it like you can wash it off and that gets some of it off, or it's actually growing with these plants?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. The seeds are modified and they use, what is it, glyphosate? Roundup glyphosate. Very bad demineralizer. So it's kind of like food that fills you up, but does nothing for you. And I kind of sense that in the energy. Like a modified fruit does not give the same energy as an organic fruit, fully ripened. A grass-fed steak gives much more energy than a antibiotic, vaccinated, traumatized slave animal, So yeah, but back to the sugar-fat balance. We're set on this kind of bad path because we never get quality meat, a solid amount of it, quality milk, quality egg, quality meat, quality butter. It's, especially with the seed oils. So we never get quality meat and we never get quality vegetables and fruits. That is, in my opinion, the setting up of true malnutrition. So from a young age, we never eat well, get good solid breakfast, lunch, and dinner with quality snacks throughout the day. And then we grow up struggling, trying to learn how to cook.
Well, not only that, but with disease or with your body trying to fight off all those years of not putting the right our nutrition in your body.
Yeah, the way I see it is every thought, every word spoken kind of burns the vitamin and mineral reserves that we have. And if you're already low from a child, low reserves, you don't have any abundance to burn, just abundant energy to burn, you're really getting by the skin of your teeth just to learn and act these things. Like, it's like, imagine you're starving to death. It's been 5 days in the desert, you are no water, no food, and then you stumble upon a really nice kitchen, all kinds of great food, all the tools you need, but you're so weak and tired, low on energy. It's like you have it all here, but you're just too weak to even act, to even perform. That's kind of where I see it, is we're brought up weak and it's kind of like an entrapment,
So like the status quo would say that the reason that Monsanto's is doing these things to a mass chain supply of food is specifically that they do this because they say, well, if we don't spray it with these types of chemicals, bugs are going to eat it, animals are going to eat it, all those types of things.
And then we won't be able to feed anyone, because if we lose any of our crop production, more people will starve.
Right.
We already have starving people. We can't afford any mishap, any crop loss.
So I think like what you told me last time you were over at my house, and I think that, most people, minus you living in an apartment, but even at that point, I think you still could do it, is just actually start your own type of like small farm or, gardening and stuff like that. Because at that point, you're not getting any type of the pesticides. I don't know if you can buy natural seeds or...
Yes, you can.
So I think that would be a good start.
Oh, yeah. I like...
No, I don't think so. Play with the cord a little bit up there. I need to get a new cord. I don't think...
Hello?
There we go. Nope.
Yes.
There it is.
So the way I heard the Indians put it was the humans are connected through the soil to the animals. The humans and the animals live on the soil. So the soil health determines the health of the humans and animals. And when the soil goes bad, the humans and animals go bad because, the soil doesn't have minerals and vitamins and all the good living, cofactors of quality life. So if I were growing anywhere, I would be building up my soil inch by inch, to infinity, so that I have this dense, nutrient, living, rich soil to grow things in. And that's kind of the exact opposite of a dust bowl. The Indians built up the soil. The modern, confused Western ideologies dust bowl the soil. It goes down into dust. The right way is for the soil to grow into thick, rich, soil you can grow anything in. That's kind of like a raised garden, basically.
Yeah. And I feel like there have been larger amounts of population on the earth than what we're told in mainstream media. So I feel like these types of practices have been done before, and it can sustain a large type of population without putting all these chemicals in the food. And it's unfortunate because we're having this conversation, and all these, I mean, probably 90% of people in the United States are eating these bad things. And I guess for me, like having these conversations with you, I've always like thought about it each time we have like a family event and you're over. When you talk about these things, like people look at you like you're crazy, when in all actuality you're not crazy. You're fucking eating really good stuff for your body, and are reaping the rewards off of that. And it's like, how could people ever do that when we're set up to fail? And the only way to do that is to go in your backyard and just do it yourself.
Yes, and with community,
right?
Community helping. The way I like to think of it is everyone grows something else in their yard, and you get to share.
Yeah,
all the time. But yes, we are set up to fail a little bit in the sense of, like it's not positive to get fatter every day. It's not positive to get poorer every day. And there's a bit of a movement, you could say, of ideology to where it's okay to get fatter and poorer every day.
Right.
You know, that's crazy talk.
Yes.
It is not crazy to get more abundant and healthier every day. You know, the confusion is is spewing over into what's positive. You know, what is really positive? Progression, you know, creating and progressing to abundance, to positivity. Progression is positive if it's, you know, good and right. Progression is wrong if it's, you know, taking you where you don't want to go.
But how do people really even know where they want to go? Especially, again, we can keep coming back down to it. Whenever you're fed this lifestyle, and some people are like, well, I'm okay with it. Like, just leave me alone. Let me eat my cheeseburger. Let me just sit at home and, you know, just not do these things because I'm completely okay with where I'm at, as opposed to them understanding the healthy lifestyle and what that progression could mean for society type of thing.
Yeah, you just mentioned I'm okay where I'm at. You know, that makes me think of the word imagination. You know, what else can you imagine? Because when we lose imagination, that's not a good place to be. You want to be able... Freedom goes a lot with imagination. And if you can't imagine better, imagine more free, imagine more love, imagine more connection, proper connection, you know, to what we are, you know, our nature, the nature of us, the world we live in. It's not a good place. So I would encourage anyone saying I'm okay where I'm at to have a, you know, truthful thought with yourself and say, why can't I imagine? You know, that's getting there with entrapment, being trapped, not being able to imagine differently. That's scary.
So you're saying the mind always wants to evolve. It always wants to do more type of thing.
Well, I mean...
Until you lose it because you're complacent and you're okay with where you're at. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with being... I agree with what you're saying. You're losing imagination at that point. I don't see anything wrong with people who want to do that. But I'm tracking back. I completely agree with you. At that point, you've lost your imagination. And what's the point in if you're like 40 years old and you're just like, oh, I'm good with where I'm at. I don't want anything to change. I'm just going to live this way forever. I feel like if they were to try out this type of diet or the right way to eat type of thing, then maybe it would be different for them and they wouldn't have that type of mindset.
Yeah. Oh God. I just recently put it into the perspective of vitamins and minerals and how every thought we have, burns these vitamins and minerals. You could also see it paralleled with energy, in that if you're not putting energy in your body, like coming out of the desert after 5 days and coming to the kitchen, well, you're in a kitchen now, but you don't have any energy. And a lot of people get afraid of the fruits, especially because, they have sugar. Well, sugar's energy, and energy doesn't really hurt us. Energy's good. So that's one of the ways that I could see this. People aren't intaking the energy, so they don't have any energy to use. And it goes the same way with fats, quality saturated omega-3 fats from eggs and steak and things like this. Energy really likes sugar. Energy really likes fat, and if you get too far away from the sugars and fats, boy, you will have nothing. You will be so weak, and you just really won't have any energy to manifest. To manifest anything that you imagine. If you want to start manifesting things that you imagine, boy, you're going to need some fruit energy. Let that flow start flowing. Get the flow flowing. And, some of the main complaints that I hear from people is, my stomach, it's bad. And, my brain, it's all foggy. And those are like two major ones. But, that's just right there. No flow. Let's get things flowing. Flowing, yes. Yeah, but if those are two really good representations: the foggy brain and the foggy bowels. Really simple telltales that the energy is not flowing well.
Well, that's another thing that good thing you bring that up, because you look at like cancer rates, you look at diabetes, you look at all these types of diseases we've developed. A lot of that can be attributed to the diet, can be attributed to not the good food from all this pesticide type of food that we're eating. That's a big reason and a big player in why. And not only like a foggy brain or bowel movement, but just overall health of the body. Like, if you have pain in your arm, or again, if you're overweight or you have diabetes or maybe a gluten intolerant, whatever, all that shit, man. Start eating this type of diet and trying to find all these true organic foods and see what might happen. I've heard of people who have changed their diet and have gotten rid of cancer type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the diet's basically just eat as much raw fruits and vegetables as you can. I say about 80%. Try to make as much of it as you can fruit, 65 to 70% raw fruit, about 10% vegetables. And then when you're going to need eggs in the morning, a steak for lunch, steak for dinner, big steak. Raw, rare. That's it. It's about 80% raw, 20%.
You throw some nuts in there, though, yeah?
Yeah, a little pistachio. Yeah, that's good. But not so much. So, yes, the diet is the biggest. But the pillar that goes just with diet is the spirit. Positivity, having fun. That is also just as big.
Oh, yeah, it's a big part of it for sure. And we're kind of taught and led right now to be isolated, be in your home, kind of just stay away from your friends and family, just do some Zoom meetings, do some Skype, do it over the phone, social distance type of thing, wear a mask so you can't see any facial expressions. They're kind of killing the identity of the human and just getting rid of the soul type of thing.
Killing the fun. Yes. And saying forget yourself, only care about others, protect, it's care about others. Not yourself, which is a lot of what this is, the self.
So it's okay to be selfish type of thing.
Well, we can only handle so many distractions and, what's the other one I said? Restrictions, so yes, be kind of selfish and, because you can only handle so many distractions, so many restrictions. You can't bind yourself, to death. Restrictions and distractions, have their place, but they can easily overrun the health of the self. And this goes in a lot with the soul, the soul connection of, humans, which very, very important. A lot of people walk around kind of, the NPC dead in the, dead in the eyes, dead in just not much life,
So where does the soul come from? Where does the soul originate? I mean, I know it's always with you, and we're really not even taught about soul. I mean, I guess if you're in religion and you grow up in that type of environment, soul is a thing, but not in the way that I think in terms of soul.
Well, it's really funny because I have a much deeper relationship with the soul now that it can express better in my body. Everyone has a soul in their body. It's just how can it express with the energy and resources you give it? How much energy, how much abundant. Are you abundant in resources? Are you sustainable, or are you what's the word? Abundant, sustainable, and not sustaining. What's the word?
Too many oranges for me, man.
Yeah, flowing off the oranges and grapes. But when you get the good energy in you, the good meats, the good fruits and vegetables, that allows a lot of resource, a lot of stuff for your soul to play with. And like when you're talking to someone, having a good talk, the soul livens up. It gets to play around more. But when you are, the physical and the abstract are connected, so if your physical's bad, your soul's going to be pretty bad. If your physical's awesome, vibrating so high, your soul's going to be kicking ass. Like I was called Sunshine himself, when I first discovered this diet. Because I was just walking around vibing so high, having such a good time. Because my soul is energized. My mind is clear, it's flowing.
So would you consider your subconscious your soul? Or is that separate?
I kind of consider the subconscious just things that we can't consciously deal with, so our conscious mind kicks them away. It's like, we try to think, a big idea like what's really true. And you play with it for a little bit consciously. Well, okay. But you can't deal with it or let's put it this way. Evil. A lot of people can't consciously deal with evil, can't consciously grasp it. So when they can't, go through the whole process of dealing with it consciously, they just kick it to the subconscious, forget about it, don't deal with it. It would weigh down the mind too much. That's my interpretation of the subconscious. Anything we can't deal with right now, talk about, explain, understand, just kick it to the subconscious,
So it really doesn't have any connection to the soul type of thing. I get completely what you're saying, and I think that makes sense because, again, there's so much going on. Our brains are a computer almost in that sense, how much we're processing at any given moment and any waking moment as well. So, I mean, of course, you need something to filter that out and be able to do it, but the hard things, I guess, subconsciously, that you're able to just take those hard things and say, kick it to the wayside. Mm-hmm. I know that's not really talking about the subconscious with soul type of thing, but I never really thought about it the way you just said it with the subconscious, and I completely agree. That's a good way to look at it. So it's just a filtering mechanism is what the subconscious is.
Yeah, we talked about it as the mind is a computer. And, you have the hard drive just putting all kinds of different information in there, and then a processor. Well, if your processor can't process the information, just onward, move on to the next thing. The processor can't process it.
Yeah.
We all have a hard drive, just filling it up, and we all have a processor too, processing ideas and information. And if you can't process them, okay, moving on. The processor is basically intellect. How many models, how many ideas can you process? Any any information.
So eating healthy in this type of diet that you've been on for a while, that's helped your subconscious not filter out as much things, or your subconscious is filtering better things?
The biggest mental, spiritual thing that eating like this does for you is it awakens your true spirit of the heart. It's just the weak, apathetic, not caring, you could call it solipsistic, I don't care about anything but myself. That is gone. You start caring about, just caring deeper, caring clearer. The care is unleashed. With a lot of this, you say, I don't care. When eating is one of the biggest pillars of caring, real care and love, love and care and will.
Isn't that strange to think that having unhealthy eating habits can make you a completely different person and make you not love someone or love things or care for things? Or, you know what I'm saying? Just in your everyday life, you have unhealthy eating habits, like you're just a different person. But then when you start putting these things in your body and you're seeing you're giving your body better things. I don't think that people can deny it and say, oh, what you're saying is crazy. Well, no, it's not crazy. Give your body the right things, and obviously it's going to be different than if you weren't to do those things. So experience those different things, and I think that's what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see it as like the alchemical art of playing with science and chemistry, applied science, and things like this. Just applying science, the things around you. Yes, they do have major effects. Look at anyone who plays around with substance; they have some effect. But yeah, it's basically just a game. How do you want to play with it? The meats will ground you, down here in the lower chakras. The fruits and vegetables will lift you up in spirit. And I make the joke, equilibrium. Most people with the shit food, they're down here, they're in the lower, not feeling so high. The people who eat a lot of fruits and vegetables get way up here. It's like the stars, you could say. And with both of these, this is kind of like duality, polarity. Most people get too low, some people get too high. But what's right here in the middle? The heart, equilibrium. And that's a big word with the diet scene, the chemistry, physics, however you want to put the applied science, is equilibrium. The keto is, let's bring it down to the lower. The fruitarian thing is, let's take it all the way up. But you can get way off polarity going too low or too high. But if you have if you know how to balance, just sugar fat balance, not going too high or too low, you'll have a nice equilibrium and be balanced. And that's kind of the main thing. Because if you go too high or too low, it's uncomfortable.
Oh, for sure. And especially if you're kind of a newbie in that situation or in this process, that might be too much to handle. So I feel like just being in the middle is where you want to be. So there's no room for cheese in this diet.
There is. And when I go pretty easy on the heavy cream in my coffee or the cheese, I'll take a little bite of cheese or heavy cream, and it gets me electrical in a way.
Yeah.
Like I say,
well, it's weird because sharp cheese, if you eat it before bed, can give you some really vivid dreams.
Yeah, I think the fruits, quality meats and stuff, they, better dreams.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. People say I have no dreams. I have shit dreams. It's not really a mystery to me why,
Oh, for sure. I mean, it all goes hand in hand to what all the benefits are, ultimately, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, the biggest benefit of all is just enlightening and the soul. Transcending the lower visions of existence, seeing things from a higher view. That's my favorite part about all this. You get to free up the self, the perceptions, the feelings, the soul connection. A good quote I like to say is, think of the smartest person you know in real life. Okay, now is that person killing themselves and their family? Are they really so smart now?
Very true.
And that's kind of the point that we made earlier, is people, I'm cool where I'm at. It's like, did you look into yourself and ask, am I killing myself? Am I killing my family? Another good quote about being a leader is, if I slip, they fall. So it's like, be careful about what kind of distractions you're bringing to your life and your influence. Are you influencing, bad stuff?
Well, we kind of talked about outside, like influence, and like you said, I think you were describing like how if you were to want to influence someone else with the birth of this type of diet, or freeing yourself, right? You said helping people, and I feel like that's what this podcast is about, is trying to spread the word to try and help people feel this type of thing. Now, I know you've talked a lot with people online and you have some friends. Whenever you first bring this up, what's the easiest way to get to people? Because this is very complex stuff. Like if someone were to listen to this podcast in its entirety, I don't think a lot of it would make sense, because in their head, like, again, I told you outside, I'm 32 years old. I have these habits. It's going to be extremely hard to break these habits. My stepdad was like in his 40s and he passed away because those habits got to him. He would not, like, the amount of meat he was consuming, and he had diabetes and pancreatitis. He just wouldn't let up when the doctors told him, hey man, you got to change your diet. What do you say? And what's the easy way for people to slowly get into this? You know what I'm saying? Without making it too difficult.
Yeah. So the best stories I hear are of older people who, someone like me tells them, hey, you've been killing it with the processed meats, and it's wrecking your liver and your appendix, spleen, pancreas, gallbladder, all of your digestive organs, and you're going to die. Okay. And the best stories come from those who realize, all right, I got to balance my body up. Well, how do I do that? Well, I'm just going to cut out the meat products. This is basically the normal vegan, vegetarian, fruitarian thing you'll hear. I'm going to cut out the meats and just eat raw fruits and vegetables for a couple weeks, months, whatever, whatever you need, whatever you're trying to accomplish, and then they're done. They got their liver balanced, they got all their endocrine balanced, everything balanced out, just on the fruits and vegetables. See it like an oil change. Put in the good water and get rid of the old water, edema, whatever. But that's basically the story of our time. Is we got plenty of shitty meat. But for reality, you can have a couple eggs in the morning and a steak for lunch and dinner if you're really hitting it hard. Like I said, sugar fat balance. You can have those couple eggs in the morning and that steak for lunch and dinner if you're really physically active, hitting it hard and stuff. But the fruits and vegetables just basically cure it all. You could say little herbs too, turmeric, ginger, things like that in your smoothies or tea or whatever. But that's basically the cure.
What about salt?
Yeah, when you eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, in this flip your life around thing, I say salt and pepper your steaks, to your heart's desire. It's you're eating such low salt that you're good. You know, the salt. There's no salt in fruits or vegetables. It's the processed foods that have the salt and the sugars, because that's the game they play. It starves your body when you take in processed junk foods. Anything that they put salt in, they also put sugar in. Anything that they put sugar in, they also put salt in. That's what really helps to destroy the body of anyone who eats it.
So do you only drink raw milk, or do you do normal milk from the store?
I will not. Well, when I started all this about 10 years ago, no milk. No, blech, hurts.
Almond milk?
No.
No milk at all?
No.
Oat milk?
I do like raw milk, where the cream floats to the top and you have to drive an hour out.
Yeah.
But I don't do that very often. Ever, really.
What about, like, I know this is going to sound silly, but what about just like human breast milk?
Oh, yeah, I hear that stuff's pretty good for kids and stuff.
I mean, yeah, you probably wouldn't like the taste of it as an adult, so I just don't think that there would be any negative effect if you were to drink breast milk at any age.
It's so demonized, I wouldn't mind just, putting some under a microscope and just studying it a little bit. It's like fucking human breast milk, the gift of God,
So do you you don't eat pizza?
I just love, my thing is, like, I'm a little crazy, a little eccentric. I just love being so high.
You have cheat days, though, for sure. Or no?
Yeah.
Like Thanksgiving.
But when it comes to, summer, when everything's in season, I'm going hard.
Right.
I'm going hard.
And that's the great thing about the body is for people out there, like, I don't think you're saying you have to do this thing every single day, but if you do it more so than not, it's beneficial at any point that you do this.
Kind of the way I see it is, if you don't do a detox, heavy fruits and, like I said, 80% fruits and vegetables, 20% steak and egg. If you don't do that in the summer for a couple months, sweat in the summer, hydrate with all the fruits and vegetables, not good. That's kind of how nature does it for us. They give us all these nice fruits and vegetables to endure the hot, sweaty summer months, hydrate, electrolyte the shit out of you with all these fruits and vegetables. And that's kind of how we survive,
So then technically wintertime would be heavy meats.
Yeah. Yeah. Meat and the carrots, the fermented vegetables, peppers, salsas, like our ancestors, our great grandparents, and everyone used to jar in these things. It's the way to do it. Yeah.
What's like a good preservative that they use? I've been meaning to look into preserving those types of things when we do start a garden. How do you do that? How do you preserve?
Well, I've never done it, but the way I see it is the fruits and vegetables get your stomach up to where you could. The way I put it is, when you eat like this, you'll hear, you go to Mexico, you can't drink the water. Mm-hmm. I think I could.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. Like, if I could just drop my steak, rub it all over the ground. I could go get some creek water, drink it. The microbiome, the living part of us, is just so rowdy, so just fired up and living, from all the fruits and vegetables and living foods. It's not suppressed at all. It's very strong. So any water's okay, I don't even think I'd have to preserve this stuff, man.
Oh, so you're saying you could just eat it?
Yeah.
Just jar it up and then eat it whenever it's time in the winter.
I think it's called high meat. You can just take some meat, put it in a jar, not even cool it or anything, and let it turn black, and just no problem.
You're not advocating for that. You're just saying specifically to yourself, you could do it because of the 10 years of what you've been doing with your body.
Well, I'm saying is, you get your body up, super electrical, super strong, super feisty.
Yeah, be surprised at what you can do type of thing.
Feisty and zesty. Oh my gosh, it just gets what's the word? It's like a black hole of awesomeness. It just does its thing. The stomach has a mind of its own, really.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I call it the jungle. Like, you'll see people, oh, you can't drink that much raw milk, I'll put down like 60 ounces of raw milk just right. Just drink it right there, no problem. Some people
Got to do that shit on TikTok, man. That way people believe they see that shit and you have like millions of views. Not that that's what you're seeking.
Yeah, got to get the word out.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I think we'll end it with this, man, because I talked to someone at work about the podcast that we were doing today. And one of the questions that they had asked was, and I know I asked it earlier, but I guess maybe a little more specific. Where, and I guess I could put it in the description below as well if you have websites that you order food from, but how or where do you buy all of this food to eat like completely organic, or the right way, I should say, or the human way?
Well, I usually just go to Aldi's, Sprouts, and Natural Grocers. I get as many fruits and vegetables as I can from Natural Grocers. And for meats, I'll usually just get steaks from, grass-fed steaks from wherever. And, eggs from Natural Grocers. And that's basically it. I like to stick to organic potatoes.
So you trust the label whenever it says I think that it's like a law they passed that if it says 100% organic, that means it's actually legit. Like it hasn't been fucked with type of thing.
There's lots of different organic labels. Don't trust it. Do not be trusting at all.
So then how do you find the good shit, man? Just by looking at it, smelling it, sensing it?
Yeah, it's taken years. You look for big stuff. And you look for the nitrogen turning into carbon, referring to ripeness. The bigger the fruit is good sign. But it's really not so much like when I first started doing this, I didn't care so much about the foods. It was just getting it in. That's all.
Right.
That's all it takes. When we talk about organic and getting it fresh off, picking it fresh from the plant and, perfectly grown, no chemicals, that is the highest level. I wish I could go there right now, but
you could just by growing it in your backyard, right?
Yeah.
And then having some cows and chickens in your backyard too, and stuff like that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the highest level, and this isn't a high level thing. It's just the diet is, the biggest supporting pillar. It's just putting the right stuff in you, just fruits, vegetables, meats, simple as that.
So, and like we talked about earlier, even though a lot of the stuff, Monsanto's has, it's a lot of it's genetically modified, you're still going to consume these things. There's really no way around it, again, unless you have your own garden. But still, even doing that, it's still going to enlighten you, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah. Going from zero to, zero good stuff to any good stuff, yes. And the more good stuff you put in exclusively, like if you want to get to the highest levels of health and energy and clarity, you're eating strictly fruits, vegetables, and meat.
No matter where you get it from. So don't necessarily worry about going to the grocery store and looking at all these fruits and vegetables and saying, well, how many of these are genetically modified? Don't worry about that type of thing.
I would say start out at Natural Grocers. Anything you cannot get at Natural Grocers, go to a Sprouts. They have a pretty good selection. If not Sprouts, Aldi's, they have some organic stuff. So the fruits and vegetables are pretty easy. With steaks, it's okay to not get the grass-fed, but, you just always want to go for good quality if you can afford it.
You go to you can find like a third of a cow. I mean, if you have them, save up some money, get a deep freezer, buy like a third of a cow, half a cow, full cow. That's going to last you a long time in the freezer.
Well, I'd rather have a couple friends and get a, half cow and eat it in a month.
Yeah. So you don't do pork?
Oh, yeah, I like pork, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But you can't eat raw pork, though. You have to cook that shit.
Well, I wouldn't eat any raw meat. Raw, just straight up.
You can't eat chicken medium rare.
Yeah, raw chicken, raw eggs, raw butter, raw milk. I would not eat any raw meat unless I know where it's coming from,
So you're saying if you knew where it was coming from, you would eat chicken
raw,
meat?
Raw, yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can do it soon. Hey, we got raw fruits and vegetables here. We can bring some raw meat. Yeah, it's normal in other parts of the world to eat raw.
Chicken?
Everything.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Well, I know we're getting close to the end of the hour. I think my wife is upstairs. She's about to go to the casino. So I had a great time, Matthew. I don't know if there's any lasting things that you want to say before we end the podcast.
Imagine. Don't quit imagining. Just keep imagining. Imagine how good it can get and see how good you can get. Because that's the point of life, seeing how good you can get.
Hell yeah. We're definitely going to do this again, man. I would love to have you on with Johnny and Jesse for sure. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So
yes.
We'll get it figured out, man. Thanks again for joining Talk Junkies, brother. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Lord. Bless you. Bless.
All right, man. Well, the best thing you guys can do for Talk Junkies, if Matthew has anything that he wants to send me, I'll put in the description below for websites or even just a description of how he shops and whatever. We'll get it figured out. But the best thing you can do is share this video, like this video, tell our junkies out there, stay fly and ring the bell.